You talk about Frank spending time with these other women that don't mean anything and how that kind of makes you feel like even lower than nothing. Does that sort of translate over to how you have like the relationship you have with the music he's now made, that legacy that he spent so much time with that music and it's so he's wearing as opposed to like, I don't know, playing with dolls on the floor or something?
That is a really great question. I hadn't considered that. I mean it is true. The music they are there's so many things because obviously they're time machines and
Yeah.
there's hidden messages. I feel like he's still giving these Merlin moments and songs. And because I was so little and I didn't understand the references growing up, and there's a million different ways to hear the music, to know
Yeah.
the context of the times he was in, the inside jokes that he had with band members, or how he would honor us with Tamershi Deween, my invisible camel, made
Yeah.
it a song. It's Rat Tamago got into a song, and so there's all this wonderful stuff interwoven with, oh right, that locks me into a moment where that was the album where he was going to leave Gail for this woman that he did care about. Each thing is, they're little timekeepers, and
Yeah.
at the same time that they're working their magic and expanding something, they're also freezing something that I had to go back and kind of examine.
Gail is very much controlling sort of access to Frank. So I'm wondering when he was really ill
Yeah.
and you got that phone call, I have a year to live. Do you think that that was because she had controlled information that was getting to him and that's why he went down different paths of medical treatment first before going to be more traditional medicational
I mean,
attempts?
after her death, I had to look back and say she was a really unreliable narrator. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know what I was told. And
Yeah.
I know the thing that she was creating and generating at me, and everybody else got something different. But in terms of that time, my father was suffering terribly, and so as sad as it was, we wanted him to not be suffering. When Gail was diagnosed with cancer, the feeling for me was I I once I knew there was an expiration date on her cruelty, my thought was, oh, I have fresh endurance because
Yeah.
there's an end date, and so let me give this person as much care as I can in spite of what she's done, because that's just what you do. You
Of
care for the
course.
people that you care for, who have cared for you in the best way that they've been able to. So that was it was a different kind of
It's really moving some of those moments and it's just like I would sort of read the book and the next to see my wife like, oh my god, wait, I gotta tell you about this next part, and then she'd be like, what? And then I read the, oh my goodness, this other thing that happened. So you've really put it all in there. One of the I guess it's a writing device that of the book, which I found really powerful and effective, is you shift your voice in the book. So in the beginning, you really capture very authentically this sort of child's worldview. And then as you mature, the writing style matures as well. And we as the reader get to experience with you the revelations you're sort of making about the environment you've grown up in. How much of that voice was driven by going back to your old journals, or was it crafted through sort of the editing of the manuscript?
I think it was a combination. I really did, I broke it up into yeah, these sections, and when you're small, then that's you don't know any different. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I got a little bit older, I was comparing and contrasting with the friends I was making, and more exposure to the world meant more things to kind of assess. And then the next phase of my life, to me, is like the most embarrassing part, where I've got a little bit of prestige from some acting that I've done, and I haven't quite found my own identity, and I'm doing like a little bit of coattailing, I guess, and also emulating what I've learned. And those sections are the most mortifying because it absolutely highlights the bad wiring that I got.
Mhm.
And and then later on, there's a more mature me that's trying to go back in time and bring the stunted parts of me forward. So I was definitely playing with voice. I was also playing with just kind of writing it like a police report so that the reader has the chance to
Yeah.
experience as well, and feel like they climb in a diving suit and they're like, oh my God, what am I looking at?
Yeah.
So
Out of curiosity, like how long have you been working on sort of this project?
almost 5 years. It's
Wow.
been it's been a long road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As you went through that process and you strung all those parts together and you could see it as sort of a narrative and maybe sort of detach yourself a little bit, were there like little aha moments where you go like, oh, now this makes sense. I see why these things, or I understand myself in a different way?
Absolutely. I mean, for example, just looking at Frank's touring schedules and
Mm,
saying, shit, no wonder Gail was such a raging, screaming nightmare. He wasn't there for extended periods of time. We
yeah.
didn't have cell phones then. She was not getting calls frequently. And then when she was getting calls, it didn't feel connecting.
Yeah.
And then she's in charge of absolutely everything, driving us places, the laundry, all the stuff that's the no fun part of
Yeah.
being the rock star wife, who's got to actually do the day-to-day stuff. In some ways I grew more empathy for Gail, and in some ways I saw, wow, it would have been so great if she had reached out to a friend, or I don't know, just got some help. But it just, the times didn't really support that. There wasn't, as I understand it, there wasn't that self-inquiry piece, and there wasn't time and there wasn't money for it because all the money went into Frank's touring schedule.
Just in sort of that reflection on the sort of challenges she would have faced. I mean, when she leaves New York with you as an infant to move to Hollywood, I mean, that's pretty wild. Like, no help to figure that out, to find a house, to like make those decisions and hope that they're the right ones. There's really, she wasn't getting much support structure back.
She was 22.
Yeah.
She was 22. Some of the decisions I made at 22 are so laughable. But I mean, that's the weird thing, is that if your terrible mistakes and your successes, they both keep you kind of in that middle path. Like, I think about an airplane, it's flying in a straight line by adjusting a little to the left and a little to the right. Just so happens my wings were farther to the left and farther to the
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
They're more extreme.